just melt into their shoulder and give a nice, warm feeling. And if you have a whole community of people giving each other warm fuzzies over and over, then everyone just sort of has that nice, warm feeling all the time. And it's something like, well, like joy. But there came into the land of the warm fuzzies a man who said, you know, if you keep giving your warm fuzzies away, like you do all the time here, you're going to run out. You will run out of them. So you better keep some for yourself. People thought, oh my gosh, we better do that. We better be careful about our warm fuzzies. And they started only giving warm fuzzies out to the people they knew really well. And they kept doing that, and they kept giving out fewer and fewer warm fuzzies until finally they would reach into their pocket and pull out a cold prickly. How did that feel? Not good. She's actually crying, and she is not a plant. Cold pricklies. Now, all they had to give each other were cold pricklies. And it was a terrible place to live. Until finally a wise person came and said, why are you giving each other cold pricklies? I said, well, we didn't want to lose all of our warm fuzzies, so we stopped giving them away, and now all we have are cold pricklies. He said, let me give you some more warm fuzzies. And trust me. Give them away. Give them away, you won't run out. And sure enough, he gave each person a warm fuzzy, and they started once again giving each other warm fuzzies. A little fear, giving each other warm fuzzies, but they started to do it again. And what they found was every time they reached into their pocket for another warm fuzzy, there were always more. There were always more. It's the message of that old song, you know. Love in your heart isn't put there to stay. Love isn't love till you give it away. And the more you give away, the more you have. And the more love you give away, according to Jesus, then, the more you create a room in your own soul for that joy that is both the gift of God, that we can't manufacture ourselves, but it's also something that we choose. We choose by keeping God's commandment to love one another. That sounds like a kid's story fit for a children's time, and it is, but I think it's not just a kid's story. When I was growing up in Indiana, one of my great heroes was Bob Knight. He was the coach of the Indiana Hoosiers. And they were a basketball team that was lousy when I was young. When Bob Knight came in, they got to be pretty good, and I was really excited because they were challenging UCLA and John Wooden. And I thought just maybe they can put an end to this terrible dynasty that had taken over college basketball that you probably were cheering for out here. Anyway, I just loved Bob Knight. I loved the way his teams played. I loved the way they were tough. I loved everything about it until someone spent a season with Bob Knight and wrote a book about how he did it. And Bob Knight coached through intimidation and verbal abuse. A practice he sort of kept afterwards, sadly. And it was hard to root for Bob Knight. But I wondered, do you really have to do that? Is that the way to win? With intimidation and verbal abuse? Is that how you do it? Well, John Wooden didn't think so. He did pretty well. Mike Krzyzewski, Coach K, he didn't think so. Even though he learned from Bobby Knight, he didn't learn that part. He did pretty well. Steve Fisher, right here at San Diego State. You know, you can be a person of love and integrity and still be a winner. And in fact, if you win the other way, then maybe you really aren't a winner anyway. So in the end, it is about love. The love that God gives us, but the love that will turn into a cold pricklies if we keep it for ourselves. Love in your heart isn't put there to stay. Love isn't love till you give it away. So you want joy, you want to know that feeling of joy, then you do what Jesus said to do, which is love one another. Love those closest to you, but not only those closest to you. Love those maybe who are a little bit different. It's a challenge sometimes, but the promise is that if you love, every time you reach in your pocket, you won't run out. There will always be more there. So we're defined really not by what we keep for ourselves, but by what we give. And you wondered, of course, how I would connect this to the capital campaign. Of course, I saw some of you taking bets out there on that. Well, someone told me a story years ago about a wealthy man who was very generous, gave away a good portion of his fortune to build his church, to build buildings on the college campus that he supported. Then the stock market fell, and he lost everything. He lost everything. And he was standing with a friend in front of one of the buildings, I think it was on the campus of the university, the buildings that his fortune had pretty much built. And his friend said to him, "I'll bet you wish you had some of the money back that you gave to use this building." And he thought for a moment, and he said, "No, actually I don't." He said, "You know, everything I kept for myself is gone. Only what I gave away remains." Everything I kept for myself is gone. Only what I gave away remains. True for dollars, true for love, true for joy. In a couple minutes, our campaign co-chairs are going to tell you how far we are toward that $1.2 million goal. And those gifts to Forward in Faith are going to build a building. But it's not just a building. It's a place for grace where we can abide in God's love, where we can remember and remind each other, though, that we have to keep giving that love away, or it'll turn into a cold prickly every time. And so this will be a place for grace that will energize us for a new generation, that will be our spiritual home, that will be a base for mission, so we can abide in God's love by loving one another, loving those closest to us, loving those special people God has put in our lives that we most need to love, but also loving those whom God has called together in this church family, with all the things we hold in common and all the things that are incredibly different about all of us, bound together by that love. And we can also be sent forth from this place to a world in need, to people whose names we may not even know, but who also need that love that Christ calls us to share. Pray with me. Gracious God, help us to love. Maybe we're not all the warm, fuzzy type, but each of us has a language of love that we speak. May we speak it, Lord, so that your joy may be in us and in this world that so desperately needs it. In Christ's name.